The stars glimmered coldly against the vast darkness of space. Commander Park Ji-eun stood motionless, her reflection barely visible in the reinforced glass of the observation deck. Outside, 3 massive alien battle groups loomed like silent predators waiting to strike. Earth had known about the impending invasion for months. Intelligence reports had trickled in, each more alarming than the last. The alien confederates, 3 distinct civilizations with a singular purpose, believed humanity was nothing more than a primitive species waiting to be conquered. Krell, the primary fleet commander of the orbital dominion, had spent years studying human behavior. His data suggested they were technologically inferior, politically divided, and militarily unprepared. His holographic tactical maps showed multiple invasion points, each calculated with mathematical precision. What Krell didn't understand was the human capacity for adaptation. In a small underground facility beneath Seoul, a team of scientists and military strategists had been preparing. They weren't just waiting, they were planning. Dr. Kim Yoon-seo, a quantum physics expert, had been developing technologies that would make traditional warfare look like a child's game of strategy. "They're coming," she whispered, reviewing complex mathematical equations that represented potential defensive scenarios. The first signs of alien approach came through satellite networks. Massive energy signatures began appearing at the edge of the solar system. Normal communication channels would have panicked, but not here. The humans had something different. Unbeknownst to the aliens, Earth had been quietly building, not just military hardware, but intelligent systems that could think, adapt, and respond faster than any biological intelligence. AI networks that could process billions of scenarios in microseconds, learning and evolving with each potential threat. Commander Park reviewed the preliminary reports. Her team had been training for this moment. Every soldier, every technician, every strategic planner understood what was at stake. This wasn't just about defending a planet. This was about proving humanity's right to exist in a competitive galactic environment. The alien fleet moved with calculated precision. Their technological superiority was evident in every movement. Massive ships that could obliterate entire continents moved like silent sharks through the cosmic ocean. Weapon systems that could turn planets into dust were primed and ready, but they had never encountered human determination. In orbital defense stations, young officers like Lieutenant Kang Dong-hyuk monitored incoming signals. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, quantum encryption protocols humming with potential. Each movement was calculated, each response predetermined by predictive algorithms that had been years in development. Krell's confidence was his greatest weakness. He had studied humans through limited interactions, believing their emotional nature would be their downfall. He saw division, saw political arguments, saw technological limitations. What he didn't see was the core of human spirit, the ability to unite when truly threatened. The aliens believed their technological superiority guaranteed victory. They had conquered dozens of civilizations across multiple star systems. Their records showed quick, decisive battles that ended with total subjugation. Humanity would be just another name in their extensive conquest logs. But something was different this time. As the first wave of alien ships crossed the orbital defense perimeter, something unexpected happened. Instead of panic, there was a cold, calculated readiness. Every human system was synchronized, every defensive mechanism calibrated to perfection. The gathering storm was not about to break humanity. It was about to reveal humanity's true potential. Commander Park looked out into the darkness. Her reflection showed no fear, only a calm determination that seemed to mirror the collective consciousness of an entire planet preparing for its most significant moment. "Let them come," she whispered. The first alien ships were about to learn a lesson they would never forget. Earth was not just another conquest. Earth was a civilization ready to fight, ready to survive, ready to prove that being human meant something far more profound than any technological advantage. The 6-day war was about to begin. The first strike began not with a thunderous explosion, but with absolute silence. Lieutenant Kang Dong-hyuk's fingers moved across holographic interfaces with surgical precision. Each touch triggered complex quantum encryption protocols that would become humanity's first weapon. The aliens didn't realize they were already under attack. Krell's massive flagship, the Stellar Dominator, suddenly experienced its first system glitch. A tiny communication relay went dark. Then another. Then 10 more. What seemed like random technical failures were actually carefully orchestrated digital attacks. Human AI systems had been learning, watching, and preparing for years. They understood the alien communication networks better than the aliens themselves. Each digital pathway was a potential weapon, each network connection a potential vulnerability. In the control room, Dr. Kim Yoon-seo watched multiple holographic displays. Her team had spent years developing algorithms that could infiltrate and disrupt alien technological systems. They weren't just breaking through defenses. They were rewriting them. "Target acquired," she murmured. The first wave of attacks wasn't about destruction. It was about confusion. Alien communication networks began experiencing unexpected interruptions. Navigation systems suddenly showed incorrect spatial coordinates. Weapon systems reported phantom threats that didn't exist. Psychological warfare had entered a new dimension. Krell's subordinates began reporting strange anomalies. Communication channels became unreliable. Tactical maps showed inconsistent data. What should have been a straightforward invasion was turning into a nightmare of uncertainty. The human strategy was elegantly simple. Make the enemy doubt everything. Orbital. Defense stations launched minimal physical responses. Each movement was calculated, each strike precisely timed. The humans weren't trying to destroy the entire alien fleet. They were dismantling its ability to function effectively. Lieutenant Kang watched as entire alien communication networks began to collapse, not through brute force but through intelligent manipulation. The AI systems were learning and adapting faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. "We've breached their primary communication grid," he reported calmly. "Commander." Park listened, her expression unchanged. Years of preparation had led to this moment. Humanity wasn't just defending, they were demonstrating a level of strategic thinking that the aliens had never encountered. The alien fleet began to fragment. What seemed like a unified invasion force was now a collection of confused and isolated units. Each ship became an individual entity, cut off from the larger strategic network. Dr. Kim's team had created something revolutionary. Their AI systems didn't just respond to threats, they anticipated them. They could predict alien movement patterns, communication protocols, and potential response strategies with remarkable accuracy. Krell realized something was wrong. His advanced technological systems were failing in ways he couldn't understand. Tactical reports became increasingly fragmented. Navigation systems showed impossible spatial configurations. The human first strike wasn't about destroying ships. It was about destroying confidence. In underground control centers across Earth, teams worked in perfect synchronization. Every action was calculated, every response measured. They weren't just defending a planet. They were rewriting the rules of interstellar conflict. Quantum communication networks began to pulse with complex algorithms. Each signal was a weapon, each transmission a potential strategic advantage. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't see, couldn't understand, couldn't predict. "Initial phase complete," Lieutenant Kang reported. The first strike had achieved its primary objective. The alien invasion force was no longer a unified threat. They had become a collection of isolated, confused, and increasingly paranoid individual units. Humanity had turned technology into a psychological weapon. As the first solar cycle of conflict concluded, the aliens would learn a brutal lesson. This wasn't going to be an easy conquest. This was going to be a fight against an intelligence they had drastically underestimated. The Six-Day War had truly begun. The quantum shield flickered to life, a transparent energy barrier that seemed to pulse with an intelligent rhythm. Dr. Lee Soo-jin watched her creation transform from theoretical concept to humanity's most powerful defensive weapon. Krell's fleet. discovered the shield's true power during their second major assault. Massive energy weapons that had obliterated entire civilizations simply dissolved upon contact. The shield wasn't just a barrier. It was a living, adaptive system that learned and responded faster than any known technology. Artificial intelligence became humanity's silent guardian. Each alien attack triggered complex response algorithms that calculated potential outcomes in microseconds. Where biological intelligence would hesitate, these systems acted with perfect precision. The human technological advantage wasn't about raw power. It was about adaptability. Lieutenant Kang monitored the shield's performance. What looked like a simple energy barrier was actually a complex network of quantum-entangled particles that could predict and neutralize threats before they fully materialized. Alien weapon systems found themselves fighting an opponent that seemed to know their intentions before they did. Dr. Lee's team had spent years developing something revolutionary. Their technology didn't just defend, it learned. Each alien attack provided more data, more understanding. The shield became smarter with every passing moment. Massive alien battleships launched coordinated attacks. Weapons that had destroyed entire planetary civilizations crashed against the quantum barrier like waves against an unbreakable cliff. The shield didn't just block. It absorbed and redistributed energy in ways that defied conventional physics. Krell watched in growing frustration. His technological superiority, the foundation of countless previous conquests, was crumbling. Humanity had transformed defense into an art form of scientific brilliance. The AI systems began to do something unexpected. They didn't just defend, they counterattacked. Alien weapon signatures were analyzed, understood, and then turned back against their original sources. Each attack made the human defense stronger. Communication networks became intelligent battlegrounds. Where traditional warfare relied on physical confrontation, this conflict happened in digital realms humans had mastered. Every alien transmission became a potential vulnerability. Every signal a potential weapon. Technological superiority reached beyond physical weapons. Human AI systems could predict alien movement patterns with 99.7% accuracy. Before an alien ship could complete a maneuver, human systems had already calculated multiple potential responses. Commander Park watched the battle unfold with calm precision. Years of preparation had led to this moment. Humanity wasn't just fighting. They were demonstrating a level of technological innovation that redefined interstellar conflict. The quantum shield expanded, creating adaptive zones that could reconfigure themselves instantaneously. Alien weapon systems found themselves fighting against a defense mechanism that changed faster than they could analyze. What worked in one moment became ineffective in the next. Dr. Lee's breakthrough wasn't just about creating a defensive system. It was about developing an intelligent ecosystem that could think, adapt, and respond. The shield wasn't a static barrier. It was a living, evolving entity. Lieutenant Kang's fingers moved across holographic interfaces. Each touch triggered complex, defensive protocols that made the quantum shield more sophisticated. The AI systems were learning, growing, becoming more intelligent with each passing moment. Krell's tactical teams found themselves facing an impossible scenario. Their most advanced weapon systems became useless. Attacks that had worked against dozens of civilizations simply dissolved upon contact with human technology. The technological superiority wasn't about having the biggest weapons. It was about having the smartest systems. Alien ships began to retreat. Not because they were physically destroyed, but because they were intellectually overwhelmed. Humanity had transformed technology into something more than a tool. It had become an extension of human intelligence. Commander Park allowed herself a small smile. The battle was far from over, but the message was clear. Humanity wasn't just another conquered civilization. They were something entirely different. As the solar cycle concluded, the alien fleet found itself facing an opponent they had never encountered. A civilization that didn't just use technology, but understood it in ways that transformed defense into an art of scientific brilliance. The 6-day war continued, and humanity was just getting started. Krell stared at the tactical display, his confidence shattering like fragile glass. What had begun as a certain conquest was now a nightmare of unexpected resistance. Humanity was not just fighting back. They were dismantling everything he understood about warfare. The turning point came silently, without dramatic explosions or heroic speeches. It was a calculated, intelligent destruction that broke the alien Confederacy's spirit more than their physical capabilities. Commander Park's strategy was brutally simple. Instead of destroying entire alien ships, her teams targeted specific communication networks, navigation systems, and critical infrastructure. Each strike was a precise surgical cut that left the alien fleet bleeding technological capability. Lieutenant Kang's AI systems had learned to predict alien movement patterns with terrifying accuracy. Before an alien commander could issue an order, human systems had already calculated multiple counter-strategies. The aliens were fighting an opponent that knew their intentions before they did. The quantum shield had transformed from a defensive mechanism into an offensive weapon. It didn't just block alien attacks. It absorbed and redistributed energy in ways that defied conventional understanding. Alien weapon systems found themselves neutralized before they could even fully activate. Dr. Lee watched her technology rewrite the rules of interstellar conflict. Each alien attack provided more data, more understanding. The defensive systems were learning, evolving faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. Krell's communication channels began to fragment. What should have been a unified invasion force became a collection of isolated, confused units. Entire battle groups lost coordination, their sophisticated technology turned against them by human intelligence. The psychological impact was devastating. Alien soldiers who had conquered dozens of civilizations now faced an enemy that seemed to predict their every move. Tactical systems failed, navigation became unreliable, and communication networks collapsed. Minimal human resources achieved maximum damage. Where traditional military doctrine suggested overwhelming force, humanity used intelligent adaptation. Each system, each strategy was a complex puzzle that the aliens couldn't solve. Commander Park understood something fundamental. This wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration of human potential. Entire alien battle groups found themselves strategically isolated. Communication became impossible. Navigation systems showed impossible spatial configurations. What should have been a straightforward invasion turned into a nightmare of uncertainty. Lieutenant Kang's team had created something revolutionary. Their AI systems didn't just respond to threats. They anticipated and manipulated them. Alien tactical networks became playgrounds of digital warfare where humans held complete control. The quantum technologies developed by Dr. Lee's team transformed defense into an offensive strategy. Energy weapons that had destroyed entire planetary civilizations simply dissolved upon contact with human defensive systems. The shield wasn't just protecting, it was actively dismantling alien technological superiority. Krell realized his fatal mistake too late. Humanity was not a species to be conquered, but a civilization to be respected. The alien Confederate's primary battle group began to collapse from within, not through physical destruction, but through intelligent digital manipulation. Communication systems failed, navigation became impossible, and tactical coordination disappeared. Commander Park's final strategic assault was a masterpiece of technological warfare. Using minimal resources and maximum efficiency, human forces systematically dismantled technological systems that had dominated galactic conflicts. For centuries, the turning point wasn't a single moment. It was a gradual realization that humanity represented something entirely different. Not just another civilization to be conquered, but an intelligent, adaptive species that could transform technology into a living, thinking weapon. Alien commanders began sending surrender signals. Their technological superiority, the foundation of countless previous conquests, had been completely undermined by human intelligence. As the solar cycle concluded, the invasion transformed. What had begun as a certain conquest became a humiliating retreat. The alien Confederacy discovered a brutal truth. Humanity was not just surviving, they were demonstrating a level of technological and strategic thinking that rewrote the rules of interstellar conflict. The Six-Day War was changing everything. 6 days after the initial invasion, humanity had transformed from a supposedly primitive species to the most feared civilization in the known galaxy. Commander Park stood on the observation deck, watching the remnants of the alien fleet drift like broken children. Krell's surrender was not just a defeat. It was a complete and total capitulation. Diplomatic negotiations happened quickly. Earth didn't ask. Earth demanded. The alien Confederates had no choice but to accept terms dictated by a civilization they had grossly underestimated. Dr. Lee reviewed the final battle reports. Their quantum technologies had not just defended Earth, they had rewritten the rules of interstellar conflict. Every tactical decision, every technological breakthrough became a case study for future generations. Lieutenant Kang compiled the data. Humanity had used less than 17% of its total technological potential during the Yoir conflict. The remaining 83% remained a strategic mystery to the alien civilizations. The galactic community watched in stunned silence. Alien diplomatic representatives arrived on Earth, not as conquerors, but as supplicants. Their massive ships, once symbols of technological superiority, now looked like wounded animals waiting for judgment. Commander Park's terms were simple: complete withdrawal, technology exchange, permanent non-aggression treaties. The aliens would pay reparations not in currency, but in scientific knowledge. Dr. Lee smiled. Humanity had just transformed a potential extinction event into a strategic opportunity. The economic and technological implications were massive. Earth was no longer a potential conquest. It was a recognized galactic power. Universities, research institutions, and military academies across the planet began analyzing every moment of the conflict. Lieutenant Kang's AI systems became the most studied technological breakthrough in galactic history. What they had demonstrated was not just defensive capability, but a new form of intelligent adaptation that transcended traditional technological understanding. Krell, once a feared invasion commander, now sat in diplomatic chambers, watching human representatives dictate terms with cold, calculated precision. His civilization's entire military doctrine had been dismantled in less than a week. The human approach was brutally efficient. No emotional grandstanding, no dramatic speeches, just pure, intelligent strategy that left the alien confederacies completely bewildered. Global celebrations erupted, but they were not chaotic. They were controlled, measured responses that demonstrated the same strategic thinking that had defeated the invasion. Humanity understood something fundamental. Victory was not about destruction, but about intelligent adaptation. Scientific institutions worldwide began analyzing the quantum shield technologies. What Dr. Lee had created was more than a defensive mechanism. It was a living, learning system that could transform technological understanding. Diplomatic channels opened, not just with defeated alien civilizations, but with potential galactic allies who had watched the conflict with growing respect. Humanity had proven something critical. They were not just survivors, but strategic innovators. Commander Park's final report was simple. We were never the underdogs. We were always the architects of our own destiny. The Six-Day War became more than a military conflict. It became a turning point in galactic history. Alien civilizations that had contemplated future invasions now reconsidered their strategies. Humanity was no longer an unknown variable. They were a calculated, intelligent species that could transform technological warfare into an art form. Lieutenant Kang continued developing AI systems that would reshape technological understanding. Each breakthrough was a reminder of what humanity could achieve when united by a singular purpose. Dr. Lee's quantum technologies began spreading, not through conquest, but through scientific exchange. The defensive systems that had saved Earth would now help protect other developing civilizations. The aftermath was not about celebration, it was about preparation. Humanity understood that this victory was just the beginning of a much larger journey into the galactic community. Krell and his defeated commanders could only watch as humans transformed a potential extinction event into the greatest strategic victory in recorded galactic history. The universe had learned a crucial lesson. Never underestimate humanity.